All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Skottie Young. I am going to be doing some drawing today with you guys. I think the reason I'm kind of here is to help tell you guys and remind you guys that Marvel Made at marvelmade.net still has some pins available, some of the pin packs and all the goodie boxes and sketchbooks and the whole nine over there. So marvelmade.net. If you guys don't know me, I've been kicking around Marvel for almost 20 years, doing covers and books and writing now and doing all this stuff. So I've been around for a long time. We've done Deadpool, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot, maybe about 4 million little Marvel covers, Spider-Man stuff, Venom stuff, a little bit of everything. So let's get started drawing. I think my first drawing today I decided was going to be Spider-Gwen, now known as Ghost Spider, which I've got to keep reminding myself that that's her name now. It's funny because when you first hear the name Spider-Gwen, you're like, oh, that's a weird name. But then once you hear a different name on top of that, you're like, wait a minute, now that's a weird name. Spider-Gwen sounds normal. Right? So start off here. What I like to do here is get a general. I like to get just a little structure going down, a little gesture, basically a sketch of what I want the body to do. So I just loosely start sketching things in. For those who don't know, I usually work traditionally. I'm not really that. Let's have her. I think I'm going to have her waving. Let's do a wave. I usually work traditionally on paper and with ink and brush. But I thought for today, I would use my Cintiq and give you guys a little better view of things. It's a little bit clearer, a little bit easier to do these live streams if it's just all digital. So the program I'm using, because I'm sure this is going to be a question, the program I'm using is Clip Studio Paint. It used to be called Manga Studio. Oh, you know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to be scatterbrained. I threw in a little reference up here in the corner for the costume design because sometimes I just forget. Even though I draw these little tiny versions, it still helps me to know how to stylize them as even the little drawings if I have some real reference. So put the little reference up there in the corner. So anyway, back to the program. This is a program called Clip Studio Pro. Used to be called Manga Studio, or Clip Studio Paint used to be called Manga Studio. It is a pretty amazing program. Really a very, very robust brush engine. So you can you can really just make things look like you inked them on paper with a brush and ink. But what's fun is I don't use it a ton. So in some ways today it's like we're kind of going to learn together. I mean, I've used it enough that I know how to use it, but I'm still not, it's not something I've mastered at all. So I think it's kind of fun to live stream something with you guys that I'm not really super great at. So I'm learning along with you guys today. I know that as I go, I'm going to ramble a little bit. You guys are going to learn that I definitely did not go to school to be a teacher, because a lot of things that I do when I'm drawing, I just kind of make up as I go. So what I'll do is answer some questions along the way. Whatever questions you guys start throwing out there, they're going to post them up for me on a text, and I'll look up every now and then and see what you guys are wanting to know, and we'll see if we can't have a little fun over the next hour and change. So I think Ghost Spider has such a good character design. She was so good in the Spider-Verse movie. She looks so good. But you can see here, I'm just roughing this frame out. You probably don't. What you don't really realize quite yet is that. Well, I'm not gonna ruin it. I'm not gonna spoil it. You'll see when I get there. But I think Ghost Spider has one of the coolest character designs. Her costume's so good. That hoodie is really cool. Colors are great. So yeah, we're gonna do that. She's gonna be hanging from a web, but we're gonna deal with that a little bit later. So what I'm gonna do here real quick is grab the movie tool. I'll move her up a little bit. What else? Let's scale her up. We're gonna edit, transform. We're gonna scale her up just a little bit. I want her a little bigger. This is kind of the fun thing about doing digital stuff is like, you know, okay, again, kind of being scatterbrained. When I said I don't do things digitally, that wasn't the complete truth. What I actually do digitally is I do draw everything digitally. So all my pages are actually start out digitally. I do thumbnails. I don't know what that is. I do my thumbnails digitally, and then I clean them up in pencil. So basically kind of what you see me doing here, I do 4 pages and covers, and then I will print this out in really, really light blue. I print this out in light blue on Bristol board and ink over top of it on paper. So it's a hybrid of digital and traditional tools. So I get a little bit of best of both worlds. So I think what I've got going on here is kind of, I don't know, I'm pretty happy with what we've got going on here. So I'll shave a little bit off, and I'm even going a little bit more. Usually I'm pretty sloppy. I'd stay sloppy with that. But the cool thing about this program is, you know, you got options when you draw it. It's not like when you draw on paper and you feel like you got stuck. Like, oh, I started this too far to the left or to the bottom or whatever. You can kind of just jump in and go anywhere you want with this. And scale it up, scale it down, make the head bigger, make the head smaller, any of those things. So, in fact, I don't like what I've got going on with this arm because I think it's going to create a little bit of a tangent there with the hood. So we're going to get back in here, and I'll lower that arm a little bit right there, so it's not as it's not as abrasive from aggressively towards that hood. So there you go. Love that. So we're going to take this layer. Where is that? We're going to click that. Boom, make it blue. Love it. Another thing that you guys are going to notice that I don't do a lot is I don't zoom in and out a lot. You guys can tell I've just kind of been stationary. And by that, what I mean is, you know, getting in here and noodling. You know, it's very easy to get in here and, you know, start noodling and getting details. But the problem with that is it does start to feel like I'm spending too much time on something. So what I like to do is I kind of keep it around about the size that I would be keeping it on paper, because that's what I would do traditionally. And I want my digital inks to feel very similar to my, I want my digital inks to feel similar to my traditional inks. And the best way to do that is to kind of treat them the same way, as the same property. So the only way I can zoom in and out on paper is to get my eyes closer to the paper or further away. And that's kind of the same philosophy that I try to keep when I'm drawing digitally. So we've got a layer down. We've got this. I changed that to blue because it's easier to ink over top of something that's lighter that way in a different contrast. So I'm going to jump over here to my ink brushes. What brush was I going to use? I think I'm going to use this Feather Fawcett. There's a Clip Studio. There's so many people out there that make brush packs that mimic real life brushes, and it's pretty amazing. So before I jump into ink, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look over here at my phone and see what questions you guys have, answer a question, and then I'll jump in on the inking. So Somebody asks, this is the most asked question. How many years did it take for you to find your style? Okay. Well, it's hard to say. It took all the years, right? However many years I've been drawing, that's how long it takes. Style, I find, and this isn't my quote. I think it's. I think I heard it from. I think I heard it from Terry Moore, who heard it from Neil Gaiman, who heard it from I don't know, or maybe Neil said it because Neil says all types of amazing things. But somebody said style is just a collection of your mistakes. Terry Moore used it as an example with playing guitar, where everybody knows the same notes, but the way that you play the notes and the way that I play the notes might vary. And therefore, because I'm going to make slight little mistakes here and there, and those mistakes will become style, your style. And I find that that's kind of what happened with me and art, is you're drawing one way or you're trying to draw one way, and over time you or I would start making mistakes, or I'd try an inking thing, I'd try a technique, and it just wouldn't work out the way that I wanted to, but I still liked it, and I'd carry on. And so I talked about this recently. I used to want to ink really, really tight drawings. Like, I always loved Tim Townsend, Sandra Hope, all these amazing, amazing inkers that I grew up looking at. And I would try to ink really, really clean like them because I just thought they were great. And the thing is I'm not as good at inking like that. So I would start making all these mistakes. We had this drawing night that we went to, or that we did in Chicago, and we'd draw themes. Everybody would draw the same stuff. And I would start off inking the drawing and try to keep it really clean, and I'd mess up, but I didn't want to leave the drawing unfinished. So instead of scrapping it, I would just quickly rush through the drawing. Just quickly rush through it, and just so I had a finished drawing. And after a couple weeks of that, I realized that I liked the messed up side of those drawings more than I liked the clean side. And that set of mistakes that I was making ended up being what I consider my style. So style's a really interesting thing to talk about, because style is what happens when you stop looking at other things and you're just drawing, and you've drawn a million drawings, and you draw a fire hydrant this way and you draw this way, and it's just a that's what happens. Style just kind of happens. As soon as you stop trying to have a style, you all of a sudden realize I have a style. What's weird is I used to think I was trying to have a style, but it wasn't until I actually thought, like right now, I don't know that I have a style, but people say, oh, I can always tell it's yours. I'm like, okay, I feel you, but I don't see that. And that kind of probably means I have a style. And again, these aren't hard, fast rules that I'm throwing down here. This is just what I've been through, and how I feel about things. So please take all of what I'm saying with a very, 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 very heavy hand grain of salt, please. All right, we're going to start giving Spider Gwen some details here. Or Ghost Spider, sorry. Get her there. This little knee, some color of black. Right. Let's see. What other question we got on here? Blah, blah, blah. A lot of style questions. Who's your absolute favorite character to draw? Well, I'll stick to Marvel characters right now because my favorite characters are the ones that draw are the ones that I create. I will say when it comes to Marvel, I think Venom's a really fun character to draw. It's just he's so big and that, you know, those teeth are crazy and the tongue's crazy. So he's definitely a fun character to draw. So I kind of also wanted one thing about any spider character is I'm always trying to find the right angle to draw them at to where I don't have to completely draw the entire head. Because Spider-Man heads are the most difficult thing to deal with when inking, because they're just so round, and you know, trying to pull a perfectly smooth ink line is so difficult with that. Now, if I was doing this for, I don't know if I'll have time to do color on this. I probably won't. But you know what I would be doing if I were doing this for a job or for a cover, I would still fill all of this stuff in black like you're seeing here, but I would then go in and do color holds. And color holds are when you take a black line and you add black to them. So, but this is just going to be a black and white drawing, just an ink drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here and fill these. We call these filling in blacks. These are just big islands of black. I probably could, you know, I'm like old school in that way where I could probably reach over to the tool thing and pick a bucket and it would just fill this thing up with black. But what you'll see when I ink, I actually like little pockets of imperfection. Again, we're going to take that back to style, like it being style as a collection of your mistakes. And what I realized is like I like having little pockets of white that pop up there because it makes it feel like it's moving. It kind of tricks your head into thinking, oh man, that the motion of everything is moving around. So if there's any things that you could ever do while drawing to help convey movement or motion, and I'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute too. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pick no color, and I'm going to go back through these blacks here and do Spider-Gwen's hoodie webbing, which I think is such a cool design touch. See that right there? Then we're going to go through with the webbing. Here's a little tip for you people who want to draw Spider-Man. The webbing always arcs away from the center. So the scoop part of the web will be opposite of the center of everything. So it's fanning outwards. Starts in the center and fades outwards. That's I'm gonna give that tip to Kari Andrews. He taught me how to draw Spider-Man's mask almost 20 years ago, and every time I draw Spider-Man, I have his voice in my head on how to do it. All right, so we're almost kind of done with Spider-Gwen here. Or Ghost Spider, I gotta quit saying that. So what we're gonna do here, watch. We're gonna have a little bit of extra fun though. I'm gonna pop that, so all of a sudden the blue layer's gone. But this is a weird drawing, right? But this is what I was gonna tell you. This was my plan the whole time. We are going to edit, transform, scale, scale, rotate. I'm going to hold the shift button down so it gives me the exact thing. Boom. Now she's hanging upside down. Let me see where we are at the top of the paper. There we go. So now she's hanging upside down the way I wanted her to. Again, I'm going to scale her up a little bit. Get her up there. And what time we got? All right, we got some time. I think we'll add some buildings. All right, before we add some buildings, let me get back in here. I'm going to go to the pencil layer. I'm going to turn that pencil layer back on. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just going to add another pencil layer. Boom. Let me see what we got going on over here on the question front so I can answer some more questions while I'm drawing. If you're just joining us, I'm Skottie Young, drawing Ghost Spider, and answer some questions from Twitch and YouTube and all the places. Somebody asked, do you prefer drawing digitally or on paper? We covered that, but I loved, it's a hybrid of both for me. Okay. Do you think of yourself more as an artist, an inker, or a writer? That is a very good question. So let's answer that question while I go in here. What's going on? Oh, I had a no color. All right, I'm gonna change this layer real quick to blue. So I'm drawing in blue pencil again. This is always a fun. This is like a really fun thing for me to do. This is like, I love just doing really fun, old, weird, wonky buildings, water towers. Like this is my favorite weird, like New York, extra cartoony. Like that's something I feel like I always just feel I see in comics is like tons of water towers on buildings. So, and then when I started going to New York, I was like, wait a minute, there really are these water towers all over everything. It's so weird. But I always like to add those in these. When I go in and add a little extra flavor to a drawing, we'll add them all sorts. We'll do some piping. This just adds a little. I like to always add like a little what I call like a playset element to a sketch. Like this is going to be a drawing. This is going to be a cover, but it's going to be like a sketch. So anyway, let's get back to that question. Do I think of myself as a artist, an inker, or a writer? I tend to call myself a cartoonist, and what a cartoonist to me is it is all of those. It is generally just a storyteller, and I am a visual storyteller. I grew up reading Mad Magazine, so artists and storytellers like Jack Davis and Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts and all these kind of things where we are talking about people who are telling you stories and drawing art and doing all the things. So it's, to me, they just all coexist together. I can't do one without the other. So when I started off, I just drew, and over the years I have taken on, I started inking myself, I started coloring myself, and then teamed up with my buddy Jean-Francois Bilot, who is just one of the best colorists on planet Earth, and he started coloring me. And then when I had a little bit more time, I'd always wanted to write my own stuff. And I remember an editor at Marvel called me once and wanted me to do a Werewolf by Night story. Or not a Werewolf by Night, just a monster. They were doing a Marvel Monsters thing. And asked me if I wanted to do it. And I was like, yeah, of course. So, but I said, oh, well, yeah, I'll do it if you let me write it. And I loved his answer. He was like, yeah, that's fine. Just don't mess it up. So John Barber, who was an editor at Marvel, just like said, sure, you can write it and draw it. And I did. And I caught the bug. And then editor Nick Lowe started giving me writing assignments. And I think everybody liked what I was doing because they kept letting me do it. And eventually, I made it to Sana Amanat, made it to Rocket Raccoon and Groot. Then I wrote and drew that series for a while, then wrote it for other artists. So I just love new challenges. And that's one thing that I loved about jumping to the writing side of things is just, taking on a whole brand new challenge. And now I'm doing a lot more projects where, I'm just writing and not drawing the projects. Like right now, I'm writing Strange Academy with Umberto Ramos on art, which, I don't think that people could quite fully appreciate the fact that what that means to me. This Umberto was one of my favorite artists when I was coming up, when I was just getting out of high school and deciding I want to draw comic books. Umberto was already crushing it. And he was one of my favorites. So, and then, over the years we became friends, but man, it's so cool right now that I'm writing a book that Umberto is drawing. It's just so, it's one of those things you just got to pinch yourself and be like, oh my God, I do this for a living, All right, while we're doing some more buildings here, let's see what you guys are asking on all the situations. Somebody said Ghost Spider or Ghost Rider. Oh, Ghost Rider was another option. Was going to be another option that I was going to have to draw today. If by some reason I get done quicker, maybe I'll do a silly Ghost Rider real quick, but I'm not going to promise anything. But it's not an either or, man. It's just I just like drawing, and so I do think there's no character that looks cooler than Ghost Rider, though, right? Like, how you can't get cooler than a skull on fire. Sam Keith used to draw some really cool Ghost Rider covers, and for the Marvel Presents stuff with Wolverine, it was like a flip book, if you guys remember. That was so cool. So there's that one. We're going Water Tower crazy over here with Spider-Gwen. All right, let's look. How important is storytelling when you start an illustration? That is an excellent question. You guys have some really good questions today, and I appreciate it. How important is storytelling when you start an illustration? And I have to say it's pretty big. And once I realized that and started to kind of employ that, I think I got better as a cartoonist because, at first you think that all you really need to do is be a good storyteller if you're actually telling a story. But I think there's a big importance to telling a visual narrative in one image. I'm drawing this Ghost Spider here, but a lot of people like the cute little Marvel covers, but I view them more as a challenge on telling a story with one image. So my favorite covers are not the ones probably where I've drawn the coolest thing, but where I've where I've had the best visual gag, or I've had the best storytelling to come across in one singular image. And I think that's a really big deal. If you can get somebody to kind of think about what happened before and what might happen after your drawing, then I think that makes a drawing more interesting, right? Of course it's right, duh. I just said it. So there you go. All right, let me look down here. We got some more questions. Let's see. You guys are really coming through with some awesome questions. I appreciate it. How did I meet Marvel? How did I meet Marvel? Probably wondering how I got my job at Marvel. Well, tell you what, it's very different today than it was back in the day. Social media didn't exist. The internet was basically just starting. I met C.B. Sobalski, who is now the editor-in-chief of Marvel, back when he was just coming back from Japan, and he was doing some indie books and had a company and was trying to develop some books for Image and do some independent books. And we met at a convention, and we became friends, and CB started doing some Marvel work and was hanging around some Marvel editors one night when somebody needed a fill-in artist, and CB knew a lot of artists. That's one of CB's things, was he had such good artistic taste, and he knew a lot of artists, and he was always searching out talent, and had such a good ability to see potential. I mean, I always credit CB for seeing me when I wasn't that good, but for some reason he thought that something would happen later. So I think that he's got a really good eye for that. And he was just it was like one of these right places, right time. Somebody needed a fill in. He was there. He mentioned me. He called me. He said, "Hey, so-and-so is going to call you about a job. Act surprised." I'm not supposed to tell you. I said, "I don't have to act surprised. I'm going to be surprised because I'm broke, and me and my now wife are living in a little tiny 1-bedroom apartment in Chicago with no money. So if Marvel calls me and offers me a job, I will be genuinely surprised. There will be no pretending." So yeah, I got a job at Marvel. I drew an issue of Iceman. It was a fill-in issue of Iceman. And yeah, that's the rest of that is kind of history. So there you go. All right. So we got some buildings here. I think this is. I feel like I'm about ready to call this one done. Or you know what? I think I might do one thing that I always do. For these drawings, it's kind of a signature thing for me. I like. Well, it's not really signature, but I just like to do it. I like to draw weird moons, and I figure that we got some room here and we got a little time. So let's go ahead in here. And I like drawing big, weird, funky, lumpy moons. There we go. But again, what you're going to realize about me is all the things I will come up with for all these like artsy reasons. I like to do things like I like lumpy moons, but it's really I don't want to draw a perfect circle because that's hard, and that means I have to have tools. I do not even. I don't know. My studio mate might have. Kyle Strom, my studio mate, might have some, but I do not even own a ruler. I do not have a ruler in this art studio. So, oh, I don't want them, Kyle. I don't want them. I'm allergic. Kyle's bringing me a bunch of rulers and stencils and ellipses. Is that what they're called? Ellipses. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, I really just don't like drawing things perfect. Somebody once said that my buildings look like they're melting butter, and I always like that. So I like to make these moons that are like just big old holy blocks or big globs of almost like cheese. Big craters bumping up everywhere. Just making it all imperfect. I don't know. I just, again, kind of always makes me feel like we're fooling people into there's movement when there is none, you know. Drawing for me is just about the illusion of movement and mass. That's a wonky moon, people. And I love it. All right. We're almost done with this Spider Gwen. Then, gosh, go Spider. Go Spider. There we go. It's a good night sky. You know what? I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm going to pick another. Let's just pick another pen real quick. We're going to get in here, make this thing way bigger, just because I can. No, I want bigger. I'm only doing this because if we have a moon, we're going to do a little, this is just a sketch, so we're going to, I can't bring myself to leave a moon in a white background. It just doesn't sit right with me. So I'm going to fade out a little black here. Get a little bit on this side. Do a little scribble. And then we're going to go back to my other pen. We're going to choose the no brush. Let's get rid of this blue. Now we're going to go in and... Now here's the thing. Manga Studio or Clip Studio Paint, it has like splatter things and stuff like that I could use. But there's something fun about just hand doing some stars. You know, just getting in there, getting a little zen, and I like to be imperfect, like everything else. But yeah, I can't usually do a moon if I don't go in and do my snowball stars, because it just sets the scene and gives you a little bit more of environment. And again, there's a little bit of it's just more storytelling and narrative, you know. All right, well. I'm going to finish that one off. I'm going to pick this one, and let's do my signature. Oh, that's a little too thick for me. And sign it. Down there. All right. Whoa. Kicking the microphone over here. All right. So there is a little drawing of Ghost Spider. That was kind of fun. I'm going to look at a question real quick. We'll leave this up on the screen for a second while I take a drink of my water and look for some more questions before I get started on my next drawing. Let's see. I didn't really answer who my favorite... Did I answer who my favorite... Oh, yeah, I said Venom. What tablet do I recommend? Well, I mean, I use a Cintiq that connects to my computer, the Wacom Cintiq, so that's a really great device. I got to say, the iPad Pros are pretty solid right now, and you can get full clips. The program that you're seeing me ink with here and draw with here, you can get full version of it on the iPad Pro, and it's amazing. So that's a pretty good, that's a pretty solid device right there. All right, let's see. Okay, so I said, when did you start to think of drawing as your full-time job? Well, I got really lucky. I got really lucky on that because my first drawing job, well, I mean, I had little drawing jobs, like freelance things here and there, but I waited tables, and I didn't go to college. And then I got the job at Marvel. I did the Iceman #3, and then around that time, CB got a job as an editor at Marvel. And it was at a time where manga was hitting big, so cartoony artists kind of had, which I definitely had an in there. So there was just like, again, right place, right time. So it was pretty much right away. I was like, I did Iceman, and then I still kept my job at the restaurant for 6 months. And then I got a Spider-Man miniseries, the Spider-Man Legend of the Spider Clan, to draw. And past that, I have been drawing as a full-time job ever since. So, yeah. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of these layers. I'm going to save them. Well, you know what? I should probably... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do a save real quick, everybody, because we want to save these things for later. So I just want to make sure that we are saving. Okay, there it is. It's exporting. I'm going to get rid of these layers here in a minute. Oh, boom. See that? See how cool that is? You can just get rid of stuff. All right. I'm going to get rid of these layers. I am going to start a new layer that we're going to draw. I'm gonna just do it in like the regular gray first. I'll blue it out later. That way it's a little easier for you guys to see. But just like I did before, I am going to pop up this reference of Galactus. I think I love drawing Galactus because I think he's hilarious. I think it's a hilarious character. I think it looks hilarious, and by hilarious I mean awesome. But there's something, one of the coolest things about Galactus, and you know what, I'm just going to talk about it as I do it, because it's one of the coolest things about Galactus is this giant ridiculous helmet. And I love the fact that it doesn't really matter what it looks like. I mean, as long as it has the general shape, like the random details that you put in don't really, that's not really you know, there's no like, oh no, I forgot the one rivet, you know, on the one right rivet above his left eyebrow or whatever. Like, you don't ever have to worry about that stuff with him. It's just kind of one of those characters that you could put a garbage can and a PlayStation controller, and, you know, or just, you could put any of this stuff anywhere and it would still make sense. So it's a fun character to draw for those reasons. So we're gonna get this character. I probably didn't even make his head that big yet, or big enough yet. So again, for anybody who's just joining, this is my stage where I'm just roughing out big shapes and going for an overall, gesture drawing for the moment. Yeah, this character's so crazy. He's so crazy cool. Yeah, it's just like you can just keep making everything bigger. But if I make it too wide, then it seems too short. It's gonna be a really cool thing I'm gonna add here later, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So this is where I'm gonna start. This is where I'm just gonna start making things up, like making up cool shapes. Jack Kirby was just an awesome artist that just had such a bonkers imagination. That's why I love drawing his characters, because I feel like there's just a never ending on what you can do with his weird shapes and all these things. So, all right, so we got this weird chin. Got this weird chin divot. And again, I'm just going to start adding knobs and buttons and things everywhere. Because you can. Because this character's bonkers. All right, let me look down for another question real quick. If you see me stop drawing, it's just because I'm going to look over at my phone and see what kind of questions you guys are shooting at me. What haven't you done yet professionally that you still want to do? Oh, that is a good question. Well, I've written comics. I've drawn comics. I mean, there's definitely still some comics or some things, stories and stuff that I want to tell that I haven't told yet. So there's that. But what have I not? You know what? I've come close to this, but I definitely want to have a series or movie based on my stuff. And like I said, I've come very, very close in that way that, there's the Rocket Raccoon and Groot shorts that are now on Disney Plus. Those were based on my run of the series, so it was and I did some development work on that as well once that was approved. So that was really, really cool to get to watch happen, like just to see my version of Rocket jumping across the screen with the guns and stuff was really, really cool. So you can see here, this is where we're getting to a place. Now, this is why I like this program. I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna transform this because I'm like a go big or go home type person, right? So it's like, this is funny, but it's gonna be funnier if I scale him down real quick. Because that's one of those things, when on paper I start drawing and then I realize, like, oh, I'm gonna run out of paper and I'm gonna have to make decisions that I don't really want to make. So what I'm gonna do is scale him down, go back to my pencil, and now I get to make, now it's see, like right away, that's instantly funnier with a way taller head, a way taller helmet. But if I would have done that on paper, I would have had to either start over or just deal with it and then, be okay. But so that's why I like doing the hybrid, where I draw digitally first to make a lot of crazy choices, and then get off the computer and go on paper, so I can have all the weird mistakes that my brush makes. It's very difficult to have mistakes, to fabricate digital mistakes, because the computer wants to do it right. So you actually have to, for me, I have to work a little harder to make it look messed up, and then it just doesn't come off the right way. I don't want to overlap that. I know this isn't right. Here's another thing. Being a cartoonist just means, like, I'm going to cheat. I don't care if it's if it works. This isn't real life, guys. These are drawings. There is no such thing as Galactus, so nothing's right or wrong. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna put that thing. It should go over, but don't care. We're gonna have that hanging off. This is where I start. You just start going. You just make up. I don't know what the side of his helmet looks like, but we're just gonna make it up because we can. Because I'm the boss. Rope that down. Boop boop. And this is where I just start adding like knobs and more weird extra things onto Galactus. Now the thing is like none of this stuff is technically right, but the essence of the character is there. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of what I'm always saying is like if the essence of the character is there, then it is right. Like. Now, I know that's, Marvel's probably sitting over there. Somebody's probably like, no, it's not. It's da-da-da-da. But that's okay. They let me have this, and they didn't put anybody in charge of me while I'm doing it. So, we've got a lot of squares here. We got the one round thing here. So, I think we need, Kirby always did some really cool. Like, there'd just be random circles in places. Like weird fins and stuff. Boop, boop. All right. Let's see. Now, for those who don't know, Galactus is a character who feeds on planets. That's why he's such a weird, funky character. He eats planets. And Silver Surfer is a character who flies around telling the planets he's about ready to come and eat them. That's weird. Jack Kirby is weird and awesome. All right. So we're going to do this. This is not going to be like a full thing because he's so big anyway. Here's what we're going to do. Right here. Look at that. He's hungry. He's like a giant Pac-Man. Draw a little continent. Gonna get a moon. I'll probably fix that later or redo it. But he is hungry. Alright. So that's where we're at with that. So I think that we are absolutely in a place where we can just go ahead and start inking. This is where the cartoonist narrative storytelling stuff that somebody asked about earlier comes in, because you're just doing a quick sketch and you just want to have some fun, and I just want to talk to you guys a little bit and entertain you, but also while giving these tips and answering questions. But I think it's fun if we come away with it, we're like, oh, we laughed a little bit. So, all right, before I start inking, let me make that layer blue. Do another layer. And go back to that brush. Let me see what we got on some questions. Oh man. All right, these are two questions, and I'll see if I can do them both. What are the most important things to consider when writing a new number one? Number ones are so difficult to write. We're gonna get rid of this. Yeah, we're gonna keep up. They're so hard to write. Oh wow, sorry. Oh, you know what? I'm using the wrong pen. Sorry. Okay. You have to. There's so many jobs that need to be done with the number one issue. First of all, there's 20 pages. 20 pages is not a lot of pages, and it's even less pages when you have to establish. Let's take Strange Academy for example. So I just did a number one with Strange Academy. Well, not just, but it's COVID, whatever. We're not going to be bummers and talk about that. But with Strange Academy, Umberto and I created 10, 11 new characters. I'm going to zoom in on this, guys, because it's a little. a little small. So this is one of the times where I'm going to break my own rule. So I'm just going to get in there a little bit bigger. Real quick, I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to that question in a second, but because I want to talk a little bit about a drawing technique here for a second. I got to make sure I got this size that I want. One of my friends, Dave Gurton, and he's actually done him and Greg Baldwin did some Marvel stuff. If you guys remember that there's a Spider Kitty story that I wrote, a short story years ago. Those guys did it. The Creature Box guys did it. Anyway, he taught me this technique in a sketchbook, and then I texted with him about it. You'll notice how sometimes I'm going to come in and I'm going to contour. I'm going to go around the contour of the drawing and get, line weights and lighting and stuff like that. And I'm not going to do the whole thing like that, but I usually will start off at the mouth, and then, so I'll do a little teeth thing here. So instead of drawing this line, here, watch, I'm going to do it and then I'm going to erase it. So instead of closing that mouth off like that, I leave little gaps. Now it looks kind of weird when you just are isolating in on it, but the thing is you won't isolate in on it. When the whole drawing's done, all these little gaps that you see start to fill in your head subtly. So what it does, what it kind of does is it takes a drawing from being just a collection of shapes that are attached to each other, and it starts telling you that these are all part of the same form. By leaving this little gap here, the teeth are a part of this larger form. It's not just a shape touching another shape. And like I said, when it's all said and done, it kind of fools you into seeing things and playing with light. So it's like the light is hitting this lip right here, and it's kind of washing that part of the line out. But once color is in, we're not going to color this piece today, but once color is in and everything else, you don't notice that stuff anymore, except in the best ways, where your brain is starting to think, oh my gosh, look at this big mass all working together. I mean, it doesn't feel like one big, just like I said, just blocks of shape that have been touching, just placed on each other. But anyway, let's get back to that question that I absolutely went scatterbrain on. What's the most important thing with writing a number one? It's very difficult to write a number one because you have to establish new characters, establish a premise of a story in a compelling way that convinces everybody to come back, but not give them enough to where they get the whole story. So you have to basically explain a whole premise, have a conflict, get to know new characters, set up the premise enough that you're excited, and then you have to reel it back in issue 2 and start slowing things down. So it's a tall order to achieve that. It's definitely the hardest thing I've done as a writer is the first issues, and I definitely stress over them, and I always tell anybody who I'm collaborating with, whether it's artists or colorists or letterers or whatever, I always just say, please bear with me as we get through this issue 1. I promise you, after issue 1, I will lay off because I'm so antsy about a number 1 issue, and are we explaining enough? Are we doing enough to achieve or to get somebody to come back? That's what we want, right? We want everybody to come back and read our stories. So that is the very difficult thing about a new number 1. The second part I think this is somebody else's question, but I feel like it's similar to the storytelling one, is when designing new original characters, what do you focus on first? That is also a difficult task. My own creator-owned book, I Hate Fairyland, I probably drew that character a million times, a million different ways, and ultimately she probably looked pretty close to how I drew, to one of the first drawings that I did of her. So it's funny how things work like that. When you are designing characters. But what I like is character design, you want a really, really strong silhouette. When I first started drawing, you just think it's like, oh, let me detail this stuff out. But that's really not what we do. What you want is a really strong silhouette. So if I shadow this person or this character, you would still know who it is. So, if I silhouette Wolverine, you absolutely know that's Wolverine. If I silhouette, just Hulk, just subtle things too work like that. Like Hulk's haircut, you might think it's just a big muscle guy, but like Hulk has such a crazy haircut that a big muscle guy with Hulk's like weird bowl cut and ripped pants, those little subtleties create such a strong character design. So, I think that not going overboard with detail, and just nailing a lot of characteristics that will help tell your story for you. Costume design elements that evoke certain things that we're all, used to seeing or whatever. Will be like, oh, well, that person's wearing this color and this color is the color of royalty and blah, 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 like simple things like that. All right, let's see what else we got. Am I allowed to say who my favorite Strange Academy student is? Oh, yeah, I feel like you guys are asking for spoilers. I don't know if I want to say that. I got to tell you, it's okay. I don't really have a favorite yet. I love writing them all, but I got to say, Doyle Dormammu is so fun to see. It is so fun to see Umberto draw Doyle, but also Desi the Demon. I love her. She just like, God, Umberto draws so good, right? Can we just say that Umberto's like a national treasure when it comes to making comics, and I'm pretty lucky that he is my teammate. Now this is gonna be pretty cool here in a minute, guys. When I get done with the main part of Galactus, there's some pretty cool stuff. There's a really cool brush that we're going to do that's going to make me look like I'm a way better drawer than I am. And you're going to love it. So we're going to get there in just a second. I'm going to go through this a little bit quicker. So you see, I'm still going through. I'm still kind of employing that, leave some gaps. But you're starting to notice that you're not seeing those gaps, right? Oh man. So anyway, let's keep going here. Boom, boom. So what we'll do here, add some more shadows. All right. What else we got? So we said, what do you think the Earth tastes like? That's a weird question, and I like it. I think the Earth would taste like it tastes like the texture would be like it'd be like you ever had those hard candies? I don't even know what they're called. They're hard candies, but like when you get to the center, there's like a weird gooey, some sort of fruit situation going on. It'd be like that probably. Or it'd be like a runt where you just bite into it and it's just crumbly and doesn't really taste of anything good. Maybe the banana runts. Those are disgusting. Right? And they're harder than the other ones. Do you think it's harder to manufacture banana runts than it is to manufacture the strawberry runts, which you can just eat it really easy? You guys didn't think you were going to get that kind of high level of information today, did you? That's some quality highbrow commentary. Who's the hardest character to draw? I do not really enjoy drawing. I don't like that shape. I need some more circles down here. I don't like drawing Iron Man that much because everything has to be exact, and it's just a weird thing for me to try to be exact. So I like drawing the little version of Iron Man because, you know, I get a lot of freedom when it comes to that stuff that I wouldn't get if I was just drawing him normal, you know. So this is where I just start going in and adding just random zigzags and lines that you can see are just adding. It's like Legos. Like, it just keeps adding to the flavor of the whole kind of Jack Kirby machinery of this guy, which is really cool, right? All right, we're almost done with the figure, and then I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about. This is just from memory. I don't know if this is also, I don't care if it's exact. It's fun. Let's have some fun, just sketching. All right, let's get and just like the moon, the planets, I don't really care how exact they are. We're just going to have a little fun with the weird shape. Some islands. All right. I'm going to beef up my brush here for a second because I want to do these. These Galactus details, these ribs, the ribbing. I'm going to do this on another layer real quick. Oops. Because I don't want to mess this up on this layer. But this is a lot of cool, I think, Kirby stuff that I like to go in. So you get rid of that blue and all of a sudden everything's freaking out. So I'm going to go in, beef up my brush a little bit, and this is where we're just going to go in. Oh, I didn't even do another layer like I said I was going to do. It's a little too big. So this is where I'm just going to go in and start scratching in some shine and give it that old Marvel Comics feel, right? So cool. It's just go in. I mean, a lot of times I used to overthink this stuff, but it's just, sometimes you just got to go in and scribble around, and then once you have a collection of scribbles, you're like, oh, what looked sloppy just kind of looks cool now. So let's see, we got to get in here, give him some shine. I'm really excited to show you guys this other thing here in a minute. So this is where we're going to start getting up here, and this is where you do different layers of this stuff. Isn't that cool? All right, what else we got? What inspires me? Wait, how often do people say you could be a voice double for Robert Downey Jr.? I am fairly certain 0 times? 0 often? Is that a unit of measurement? I've never heard that. That's I think I like that though. I'm gonna start saying it now. Sorry. Taking credit for it. Who said that? No, I don't. There's nobody with the credit for there. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna use that from now on, though. All right, we're gonna put a little bit more shine here, and then I'm gonna go get the fun brush, and we're gonna have some fun. All right, so you can see that we're gonna zoom out a little bit. Got some fun. You know what? I didn't put enough. I need a little bit of. Some shine up in there. Shine. That's what you do. You just talk to yourself when you're drawing. Okay. Now this is where it's going to get really fun, okay? We are going to go in and we are going to do some Kirby Crackle. Booyah. All right. This is so fun. Could you imagine? Watch. See that? Now, I'm going to have to probably come and erase some of this in a minute because it's going to go over my drawing. But I'm going to zoom out because I need to see how much space we got. So let me go back over here. Zoom in a little bit more. Okay. So this is where, could you imagine? I mean, Jack Kirby was already a fast artist. Could you imagine what his life would have been like? Like, he would think this is the coolest thing in the world because it just comes in. Now, again, I'm going to go in a minute, and I will make sure that I didn't. Okay. We're going to go in a second and make sure that I'll erase the stuff that is interacting with the character in the world. So we're just going to do these cool nebulas. Isn't that awesome? So we get like all this cool Marvel cosmic stuff just with these really cool brushes. And you can just find these a lot. I bought these this morning. I wish I could remember the person who I bought it from because I'd plug them. But just go look up Kirby Crackle brushes and support some of these artists and designers who spend some time making these really cool tools for us. But isn't that cool? This is another reason, I'm going to be honest with you, that I kind of wanted to do digital for the stream today, because I just wanted to draw Galactus and show you guys this cool Kirby Crackle brush. And for those of you who don't know, this is what they call this, Kirby Crackle. I don't know who coined that term. Now this is how I'm going to erase it. So now you can see it's kind of ruined the drawing. People are probably like, what is this guy doing? Right? But so what I'll do is I'm going to lower the opacity. Then I'm going to go over here, grab my eraser, zoom in. There's probably a better way to avoid this, and people out there who are used to using Clip Studio are probably yelling at me right now, like, oh, there's a better way to mask something, blah, 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 blah. But I don't use this stuff that often. So it's still kind of new to me. So I'm just going to do it the old school way, where I just come in and I erase it out. It's like magic. But yeah, isn't that fun? Now, the other cool thing is, you could do this with color. Go in, put these on different layers, then add, color nebulas and things like that. Let's get this planet while I'm at it. Yeah, so now you guys know my secret. Anytime I've done Kirby Crackle on a cover, I'm just cheating. It's not cheating, right? I mean, you saw how I placed them so expertly. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's what I do. Expertly place randomized Photoshop brushes, guys. Oh no, see, I'm jumping all over the place. It's a Clip Studio. All right, let me see if I got any more questions while I'm finishing this up here. We got any more questions before I wrap up? We're gonna be done with this shortly. All right, let me see if I've got most of it. So we're going to zoom out. Then I'm going to bring the opacity back up. Boom. Right? Now what I like to do here is, now I can kind of go back to my brush, my Kirby brush. I'm going to go in smaller and just get a couple areas like that I want to close up, that I think are just a little problematic. It's a little too, yeah. Like I want the problem is I want the shape of that nose to be defined, and it's getting lost in the black and white nature of that. So we're gonna do that and create a little bit of a bigger nebula there with that planet. All right, isn't that kind of fun? Yeah, I mean, I think, I haven't tried this, but I think you can go reverse with it too, like go back in and do, yeah, see, you go make it smaller and create these little nebulas with white too if you wanted. yeah, so that's a really fun little trick to do. Get out here. Let's get these edges. We could probably get rid of that reference now. You guys think? Where's yeah, we'll get rid of that guy. Now, if I was doing this in color, I'd throw in some other planets and some stars and everything like that, but we're going to keep it here for now. Let's see. All right. Let's get this on screen as big as we can. All right. There's last thing to do. Wait, I'm going to give myself an area down here. Go back to my pins. And we'll give it a boop. Hold on. There we go. Let's always finish it with a signature. There we go. All right. Now what you always want to make sure you do is do a save if you're doing digital. I can't remember if Clip Studio does a lot of auto saving or not. But okay, so I'm going to look over here. There's a couple more questions. What's been my favorite experience as an artist? I mean, hands down, my favorite experience as an artist is getting to meet the people that I grew up loving. Like I've had a chance to meet, and a lot of times become friends with people that I studied and bought all their books and wanted to be just like. And now, again, Humberto Ramos is not just my friend. He's not just my, a brother to me. He is drawing a book that I'm writing, and we get to be, he's like family to me now. There's nothing better than that, than being able to connect with this thing that was so important to you as a kid, which is, art and comics and storytelling. And it was such a big part of my life, that the people who I idolized doing it now, to be able to, commiserate with them or celebrate with them or argue with them or whatever. It's such a special thing. So yeah, I have to say that's my favorite thing about what I've been able to do while being an artist in comics. It's definitely my favorite. So, man, I hope that you guys had a good time today. I had a blast. It was a little weird, just me talking to nobody, but I dug it. I think I'll probably start doing this more on my own. So definitely head over to my YouTube channel, which is just look up Skottie Young on YouTube and subscribe to my channel, which I do a lot of drawing videos, and I think I'll have to jump in and do some of these digital ones as well. You can check me out on Instagram at Skottie Young. I mean, just all the social media things, except Facebook. Facebook's just private. I just keep that with family and friends. But Instagram I'm on, YouTube I'm on, Twitter maybe. I'm on there sometimes. But check me out at Skottie Young at all that stuff. SkottieYoung.com. Swing over there for... I got books over there. We've got the Marvel Art of Skottie Young books that are going to be popping up with some sketches in them. We've got all my creator-owned books over there. We've got prints and stickers. And, if you're looking for Strange Academy #1, we still have the SkottieYoung.com exclusive variant of that. We still have some left. They have been flying off the shelves or flying out of our offices here because of... how many printings we've been going through, where I think we're on the third printing of issue 1 and second or third printing of issue 2 or something. So the series is taking off, and there's a lot of excitement about it. And if you're still looking for copies of #1, go to SkottieYoung.com and check out the store. We've got some copies of that you can only get from our store here. They come signed if you want them, not signed if you don't want them signed. It's all up to you. So yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm going to get rid of, look at all that. Boom. Going to get rid of that. What I'm going to do is, come back over here and start a new layer. Oops, where we go? All right, and this is how I'm going to finish it. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. This was really fun. I hope to do it again. Oh, probably need to put a space between that, right? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And see you guys next time.